Surf Monkey Coconut, the long-awaited part 6 of how to grow tobacco. Today we're going to cover how to air cure your leaves. It's been a heck of a summer here. By heck of a summer, I mean quite the opposite. It's actually been very overcasted and rainy here, so it kind of led to what I consider a dwarf sized Havana plant here. The leaf size is actually very nice, except that the plant isn't as tall as it should be. I'm about 6 feet tall, so this plant is roughly 5.5 feet when you minus the 12 inches for the pot here at the bottom. I know a lot of you guys in the down in Texas anyways, you guys dealt with a huge heat wave, which in of itself could kill your tobacco plants as well. And on the East Coast, a lot of you are dealing with the hurricane upcoming, so I hope you guys batten down the hatches down there, and I wish you all the best of luck. Here in Seattle, we are enjoying very nice weather today, but like I said, we almost skipped our summer. I'm glad to just have a couple days of sun, and so are these plants. So here we're in the Surf Monkey Coconut backyard. We're not where we actually grow the tobacco plants for the seeds. That's grown in Central Washington. Here in the backyard, we're dealing with the same patio crop. I don't get out to Central Washington very much, but this is what we're going to do for this demonstration videos, and here we got the Havanas. I get a question where if these leaves are brown on the plant, can you just pick them and smoke them? And that is one of the largest misconceptions about tobacco. In a sense you can. These leaves, if you left them on, they would turn brown on their own, and you probably could pick them. And like any other leaf, say if it was like one of these weeds down here that I kind of or any of these dry leaves down here, you can roll it and it will hold an ember if you smoke it. But boy, if you smoked one of these right off the plant, you get a serious headache from that, just due to all the ammonia that is so present in the leaf, as well as other chemicals that is just naturally produced by the plant. To me, just one of my things is that I think that's one of the biggest reasons why it is legal to grow tobacco in your backyard, because even after you have the plant, it is far from a smokable product. If that were the case, you'd kind of look down your street and everyone would have a tobacco plant where you just pick off a leaf and you can just go ahead and smoke it. But that is definitely not the case. So we have to go through the proper curing procedures to get rid of all that extra stuff, just so that at the end you just have the pure tobacco leaf. One last safety note, I was just talking about picking leaves and smoking it. Do not pick any leaf off the ground or off an unknown plant if you haven't properly identified it. In fact, don't smoke anything right off of a plant, because like I said, tobacco is toxic, right off the plant. So just be very cognizant that if you smoke a poisonous plant, it can actually kill you. You don't want to eat it, you don't want to touch it sometimes if it's stinging ivy. So just stay away from it. That's just my safety note for the day. So let's go back to the good stuff here and continue our curing video. Here I have some leaves that I've already taken off. I'm going to start organizing them by size. These, the bigger leaves will go together and the smaller leaves will go together when we're hanging them. Once you harvest your leaves, it makes it a lot easier to water. And we covered part of this in part 5 of how to grow tobacco, but just as a remedial, if your bottom leaves are a little slightly yellower than the top leaves, that's one indication to tell you that it is ready for harvest. Also, when the size is roughly, for this Havana anyway, I call it about 3 hand lengths down, then that's about mature size as well. But the biggest indicator, of course, is color. So when you are ready to harvest them, you just snap it down at the stalk. Should snap right off, sound like a piece of celery. Should be easier than picking off a piece of celery. And there we go. All right, so color curing. Here's the setup. We got our pile of Havana leaves here. We got a roll of string, a knife to cut the string with, and some black zip ties. This year I'm going to color code the zip ties to correspond with the leaf type. So for our Havana leaves, we're going to use a black zip tie. For our Virginia leaves, we're going to use a white zip tie. And for the Connecticut leaves, we're going to use a green zip tie. Air curing is a very simple process. All we're doing is we're just going to help nature along and turn these green leaves into the nice golden brown that we're used to when we see leaves in the fall. What we're going to do is just provide adequate ventilation for the leaves so that they don't mold on each other. If there's too much moisture, they're gonna start to form mold on each other and on the leaves. So we're hanging them to prevent that from happening, just allowing all the air to just circulate around these leaves while they're drying. And then again, we want to have it in a semi-humid environment. We don't want it too dry, say like in the middle of the Nevada desert in your garage. Chances are if you let it dry in too dry of an environment, the leaf will dry green, which is again undesirable. We want it to dry at a brown leaf color, which is why it's called color curing. But again, very simple process. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put two leaves, the bottom stalk together, because it just prevents the leaf from touching more than if you put the leaf tops together. You see how they kind of stick together that way. So I'm going to put the two stalks down, take one zip tie, get a nice length of string for this, because we're actually going to hang these from my trellis. And again, underneath the trellis there's there's a wisteria growing on top of the trellis, and I just feel that the wisteria provides a little bit of shelter when it's drizzling. Obviously, if it's raining, these leaves might get wet, but that's just the chance I'm taking. And then again, during the dry days, the wisteria on top of the trellis provides a little bit more humidity for the air circulating around the leaves so that it doesn't dry too quickly. So I'm just going to cut that string. I'm going to tie the string first around this zip tie here. A simple box knot will do. Double it up. Okay, and then I'm just going to simply zip it right around the stalks of this tobacco plant. Make it tight, but not so tight that you're going to destroy and cut right through the leaf. And that is tight and secure enough. So there's many ways to hang your leaf. I think in Central America they actually take a needle with a strand, they punch it through all these stalks, and they have like a huge rod. That's probably the cheapest way. I don't really trust that method of securing. I feel like the leaf will kind of break off, because when this dries, this really shrinks down. And then when the leaf does shrink and get brown, what this zip tie allows you to do is just you can always tighten it even more when the leaf, the area of the leaf just kind of starts to shrivel up. So that's all there is to it. We're going to keep doing this process with the rest of these leaves that we got, and then we're going to go to the hanging trellis. Alright, so here we are with our tobacco bounty at the top of the trellis. I just hung these really temporarily. I'm going to hang these individually, but I wanted to show you the leaves that we did last week as a test batch. And most of these leaves are really small. It wasn't worth filming. This is actually some really long Virginia leaves, and you can tell by that white zip tie. So they're coming along really nicely with this air cure. No mold on it, and they are turning golden brown as we speak. Here we go with the zip tie tightening. You can tell that they, if I can focus, you can tell that they are losing their area and density. So like this zip tie is really loose. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tug on that zip tie and make it tighter. I'm trying to see if I can do this with one hand. Hopefully I caught that. I had the camera in my mouth. Then we'll do it again with these. Anyway, I'm just going to zip tie all of these. And I'm going to need both hands for that. Okay, I figured out the one-handed zip tie tightening method, so here we go. It's kind of, you have to, it's one thing why these zip ties are so convenient is that you can just pull them to tighten them. Here's some really small Havanas from last week. And you want to check on your tobaccos weekly, just to tighten these zip ties, otherwise they'll slide right on out. As you can tell, this one's just hanging on by a thread. Tight and tight. Okay, so I'm gonna hang these new leaves amongst the older leaves, and we're set for this video. Alright, so we got them hung up there. We're going to check them weekly now. Again, you saw the leaves that we hung up last week. They color cured pretty quickly. They're not all the way there yet, so probably another week. and then we'll also give you an update on the second batch of Havana leaves that are behind it. If you want to skip ahead and look at the next process, we have an instructable written in text version. I'll put the link below. It'll show you the process of going through a fermentation, in a cheap do-it-yourself way anyway. But for now, thanks for watching and happy growing, everybody. Good luck with your crops, and hope the weather holds out, and I hope the weather holds out for all of you across America as well. Thanks a lot again, guys.